Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I promised it, 2025 is the year of the collaborations. Why? Because I know that you're bored of my face, of my voice, Beppe saying this, Beppe saying that. I try to find the best possible content creators, bring them here on the channel. Yesterday we had a beautiful live with Turin Giants that I want to thanks once again. And here for the second time together today, not live, but in a recorded video. Ciao Hajj, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm all good, Beppe. I'm all good, my bro. I appreciate you having me on to talk some Juve title race. What's going on? You excited or?
Normally, I was the one that was asking that question, but if you anticipate me, look, I said it in the live yesterday. I said it in the video this morning. I think it's a three-phase. I think that today I'm still in that illusion, an illusion of. Mathematics says that there is a possibility -6, but it's an illusion. I don't really believe in it. I also said to my community before match day 30, I don't really want to really believe in it. Then I tell you that if you beat Atalanta, that illusion transforms himself maybe in a dream, because dream is a bit more than an illusion. And then after match day 30, 32, if we are still there, maybe it can start to be a reality that I really believe in that Scudetto race. So yeah, I'm excited. I tell you why, because every day we can speak about Juve. There is so much things to say. But if you need from the 6th of March, 7th of March, to speak about Juve with only the aim of the top 4, it's a bit sad. And I think that being a bit more exciting, not only speaking about top 4, but maybe a top 3 race, maybe a top 2. And as people say, inshallah, more. You never know. That is really beautiful. It's nice to explain Juve and to speak about Juve in this. Yes, I am excited. I'm super excited.
You know what it is? I was looking at the fixtures and I was like, if Juve want to be in this title race, they need to win their next 2 games before the international break. Only because one of the teams they're competing with in Atalanta, they have Juve this week and they have Inter next week. They could potentially lose both. If they lose both, Juve win this week and then Juve win the week after, they now go 3 points ahead of them. And I think Inter, like I watched them against Feyenoord, they were good, but Inter looked tired. Like that, I've been watching them so much this season. Inter just looks like a very, very, very tired team. Like a lack of investment, a lack of rotation because there is no investment. I think going into the business end, Inter, Coppa Italia, 2 legs against Milan, Serie A, and Champions League, it's difficult. And with Juve, I feel like there was like talks on like Motta, which is if he comes to Juve, can he handle playing more than once a week? Because at Bologna, he played once a week. Can he handle playing 2 times a week? And I think you could see in periods this season, like sometimes the lack of rotation and the lack of rest, it held them back. But now Juve, 1 game a week. So you've got 7 days to recover, to train, to prepare. If you keep winning, the teams around you will drop points. I don't know when, but as long as you win your games, you've always got a chance. And I feel like the game against Atalanta is massive, like massive, massive, massive.
Look, there was someone that told me, Beppe, from now on, we need to consider them 11 Champions League final. I said, please, no. No Champions League final, because usually we are losing them. So semi-finals of Champions League, I accept, because semi-finals we win them. But final of Champions League, please, no. No, but I think it's a really good example, because this team, and that's something that we don't speak about. Of course, I think that Inter, Napoli, Atalanta, they will lose points, especially the calendar of Atalanta is a total disaster, it's a hell. But the problem is ourselves, that continuity that was missing. Can we play with pressure or not? I really believe that if these guys, they put themselves the pressure of we need to compete because Lazio is pushing, because we need to avoid being 4th or being 5th. And if they put in their mind, we need to compete because our name is Juventus, I'm really scared that they will put too much pressure on them. That's why I would love, as soon as possible, to be comfortably in the top 4. That would be nice, because at least you did the job. And then whatever is coming more, it's like, good. Try without pressure. The pressure is not on you, it's on the other ones. And then potentially something can happen. Look, Hajj, I was looking for someone to bring me back on earth, to not make me dream too much. But with that intro, it looks like you start believing in yourself. Do you believe in it?
Do you know what it is? Like the past 2 weeks, it was tough. Champions League playoffs. I was sat watching that game. I was like, Juve are winning comfortably. And then they went out the way they went out. And then 2 weeks later, you see Arsenal put 7 past PSV. Then Empoli, like it was their B team. This is a team 18th in the Serie A. It was bad. It was really, 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 really bad. Motta was coming under criticism. The players, Gentili, the signings. I feel like all of these competitions are not the Serie A. You lose in the Champions League, it's not the Serie A.
Yeah,
you lose in the Coppa Italia, it's not the Serie A. You look at them in the Serie A, 5 out of 5. Yeah, there you go. 5 out of 5 in their last 5. And the thing is, I feel like the game against Inter is what gave them the boost. Because if you feel like an underdog and you go to the best team in Calcio, you go to the best team in Italy, you go to Inter and you beat them, like how much confidence must you get as a player, as a coach? You went to the best and you beat them. And they beat them. They played very well. It's not like a smash and grab. They played well.
Second half was really good.
And the thing is, I always look at it and I tell myself, you went to Inter, you played well and you beat them. Fair enough. You played Napoli. If I remember correctly, I think it was a draw. But in the first half, they outplayed Napoli. And I just feel like as a coach, you could always use these things to like boost the players and tell them you went to the best, you beat them. You went to the second best, you drew. Atalanta, they played them at the beginning of the season. I feel like Motta got it spot on with his tactics. They didn't struggle against Atalanta. I feel like with Juve this season, it's always been like the mid-table teams, like the 7, 8, 9. They drop points against them, but 5 out of 5 wins. The more you win, the more confident you become. And I feel like now, even the players, I feel like they're similar to you. In the back of their heads, they're thinking, maybe we can win, but stay humble, calm down, don't get too excited. But the game against Atalanta, if they win that game,
do you think it's the right timing to play Juve Atalanta?
Yeah, I feel like it's perfect, mainly because Atalanta have Inter next week. In the business end of the season, 2 defeats and it could be over for you. You need to win, and I feel like, especially because all of these teams are chasing one another. One day it's Napoli, then it's Inter.
Sure.
In Atalanta, a month ago, they were out of it. Now they've dragged themselves back in. Now Juve have dragged themselves back in. You beat Atalanta, and then if Inter beat Atalanta, or even if it's a draw. If it's a draw, that's perfect for Juve. Yeah. It's now more pressure. Because, for example, Inter are now like, we only had Napoli to worry about, but now we've got Napoli, Atalanta, Juve. It's just them, and I feel like Juve have the advantage where it's 1 game a week. They've got the players. I feel like there's been a lot of like rotation. I feel like now there's some players in this Juve team. They have to start. They have to start from now until May. They have to start. They have an impact. They win games. But you could see this team in this area, they're confident. And they've now got the perfect opportunity to take Atalanta out of this area and replace them. So we're going to take your spot in the title race.
Who is risking the most from a neutral, objective point of view? Atalanta for being out because they're at -3. If they lose, they are out of could potentially be out of the Scudetto race, or is Juve risking more?
No, I feel like, of course, Atalanta's risking more because they've been there practically since the beginning of the season. Like they've been competing, and I'll be honest, there was that little 1 month where they were losing games. Like even last week, they drew to Venezia, and I was thinking, come on, like you should be beating them. With Atalanta, there's more to lose. With Juve, just 1-2 months ago, Christmas, I was hearing Juve wouldn't make top 4, but now there's talks of Juve winning the Serie A. So and I said this like on a video where I was like, I'm not putting the expectation on them to win it. But I think this would be an amazing experience for next season, the season after. Like I always feel like before you can win a title, you need to experience one tough year where you compete, but then you fall short and you learn from it. Like high pressure moments, what to do. Maybe sometimes even go into a game and tell yourself, it's too risky. We're going to go for a draw this game, just so we can keep ourselves in it. I feel like from now up until the end of the season, you're going to learn a lot about Motta. You're going to learn a lot about these players. Which one of them can step up and actually put in the performances when it matters most? Because business end of the season for me is the best part of the year. I feel like August to October to November, the season is in the beginning. Like nobody really cares. Now every 3 points matters because if you win, maybe you get top 4, maybe you get the Scudetto. Even teams in the bottom, they've got something to play for. They don't want to be relegated. So it's a crucial period. And listen, 5 out of 5, momentum, form, players in the last performance, they're beginning to step up. Like you saw Kenan centrally, kid done well. You saw Khéphren Thuram, Locatelli. Form is on Juventus' side. Big game tomorrow. Massive game.
Give me a player from Atalanta that you would, if you had that possibility, take out of the game.
As in, like, take him out so Juve have an advantage.
Yeah. So one player that you say, if possible, I don't want to see him on the pitch because that means Juve is doing better.
I'd probably say 2. Either Ederson. That dude is amazing. Ederson or Retegui.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with Retegui, like he didn't score many goals last year at Genoa, but fair enough. Like Genoa, they don't play the most offensive of football. The amount of goals he has scored this season, and some of the goals, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking there's many players that wouldn't score this. Like he is a massive, massive, massive threat. And when he was injured, that was when Atalanta, they started to take a little dip because now you're relying on like CDK, you're relying on Samardzic. They're good players, but they're not goal scorers. Retegui or Ederson, because if Ederson or he will play, it will be a good midfield battle because he's physical, he's technical. Him versus Thuram, I think it will be a good battle. It really, really, really will, because they're both physical, they're both technical, they both play the game in a similar way. They pick up, they carry. So yeah, Ederson for me he's massive for them.
I'm asking the people that are watching the video, choose who you want to pick out of the team of Atalanta. Let me know in the comment section. That's always nice to have some interaction, even if it's not alive. 1.38%. You know the Opta stats? So Opta is working with all the teams in the world. It's not only Serie A, they're speaking of Champions League, etc. Every week they do 10,000 simulation. 10,000 simulation, taking a lot of things into account, the coefficient of the team that we still need to play in the league. They are taking care of consideration also the last 10 seasons. So they made a lot of crazy calculation, a bit a la end game Avenger. And they came up with Juventus has 1.38% chances to win the Scudetto. I give you a bit the other teams. 68.14 Inter, Napoli 25.43, Atalanta 4.84, Juve 1.38, and then you have all the other teams. Is that too low? Is that too high? Do you think it's realistic?
I think I was waiting for you to say Atalanta, and you said Atalanta's 4%. I think that's too low for them, but I think it's definitely low. I feel it's because like everybody's looking at it from the outside and thinking this is a team that wasn't even in the title race, and now they've gotten themselves back into it. So of course it will be low, and I feel like the way they base it is just like they just look at the scores. Like, oh, Juve, they lost to PSV. Oh, Juve, they lost to Empoli. It's not a good team. But I feel like it's low, but I wouldn't put it higher than maybe 5%. Because even me, as much as I'm saying maybe they can do it, I don't really put that expectation on them. For me, I'm now more focusing on like performances. I want to see, can they step up? Because if I was a coach, I'd be looking at them and telling them, you're potentially in the title race. You're coming up against a title contender in Atalanta. You beat them, you take their spot. So you need to see who can handle the big occasion. So that's why for me, from now up until the end of the season, I want to see if the players have got like the mentality, like if they've got like like we say over here, like the cojones, like if they can handle it, if they can step up. And if they do, and they finish the season third, you learn a lot about this team. You learn a lot, which means big game moments, they step up. But why I feel like it's low when it comes to Opta is because big game moment against PSV didn't step up. Like big game moment against Empoli didn't step up. But this is the Serie A. It's different.
Inter Monza, Napoli Fiorentina this week. Do you expect a surprise there, or it's Inter win, Napoli win?
Inter win.
I say pay attention to Monza. Monza will go with a surprise. Draw.
Inter for me will win. I feel like they might rotate because of the Champions League, but even then, like they beat.
They won 2-0. They are comfortable there.
Yeah, they're comfortable. It could have even been like 3. Like Zielinski missed the penalty, but Inter win. Napoli, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Like the game against Inter, I felt like they were amazing.
That second half,
Amazing.
crazy. Yeah.
Everything. They pressed in an intense manner. They were good. They kept fighting. And that's what you need in a title race. You can go 1-0 down in the first 5 minutes. Don't let your head go down. Keep playing. They should have won that game. But with Fiorentina, I don't know what's happened to Fiorentina. Like the last 3 games, well, they beat Lecce, but before that, they lost 3 on the bounce. They lost yesterday, Panathinaikos in the Europa League. I like Palladino, but it's like, but I feel like big game, they beat Inter. Like they beat Inter just 2 weeks ago. Can they step up in the big game against Napoli? Because Napoli, they played well against Inter, but the one thing I will say about Napoli is that team doesn't have goals.
Oh, no.
No, Lukaku, he's dropped off. Neres is out. Kvaratskhelia is gone. You can beat this Napoli team. You just have to outfight them. That's all it is.
Going back to the game, the last time that you wrote me a message, it was in my life. It said, Beppe, it was still 0-0, Juve Verona. You said, Beppe, how on earth is Nico Gonzalez still on the pitch? 2 questions. The first one, do you start him against Atalanta? And secondly, why is Thiago Motta starting him every single day? Why is he so crucially important in the eyes of Thiago?
Okay, I think he's important in the eyes of Motta. This is the only reason that I can think of. I feel like because when you play Cambiaso, and you could see Cambiaso lately, he's beginning to look like the Cambiaso we saw at the beginning of the season. He's getting forward, he's getting assists, he's putting in crosses. He's been amazing. Sometimes with Cambiaso, if you know you've got a fullback that's very offensive and he likes to attack a lot, you maybe need a winger that can drop back and do the defensive work for him. Because I'll be honest, I always call Nico Gonzalez a fullback. For me, he's a defensive winger. He's not like an attacking winger, because after every game, I'm sat watching him and I'm thinking, every single time you impressed me was by tracking back, slide tackles, winning headers. You didn't impress me in the final third, scoring goals, assists, shots. So I feel like it's like you need to have always balance. If you've got one player that's very offensive, the other one needs to be a bit more balanced. But it now puts a lot of focus on Cambiaso to deliver. But you now are left in a predicament where you're looking at a winger and you're thinking, why are you specializing defensively but not offensively? And would I start him? No, I wouldn't start him. I feel like as much as I loved Kenan in that little central area, Kenan and Cambiaso, they've got one of the nicest relationships in this Juve team. They give and goals. They understand one another. I'd put Kenan there. If not, I'd put Mbangula. I feel like that kid, whenever he's played, he's delivered. And it's like in the past month, he's just been taken out of the team. Like it's not the right way to put it. So yeah, I would put Nico on the bench.
What do you think Motta will do?
Oh no. He'd play Nico. He'd play Nico. I feel like, you know what it is? With managers, sometimes you look at the team that's getting you results now. So he's like, okay, I played him and he delivered. Played him against, like in the past 5 games, I think he started like 3 or 4 out of them. The team is winning. The team is winning, fair enough, because I'll be honest. I'm not really his biggest of fans. Like I said it the last time I was on. I was like, he's a good player, but he's not Juventus level. He's good for Fiorentina. He's not cut out for Juve. Like you need more. But he helps Cambiaso. Like if I wanted to be fully fair, he helps Cambiaso, because sometimes Cambiaso goes, it's too much to run all the way back. Nico is there. He's sprinting. He's helping the team defensively. So there's balance, but it's just a problem because sometimes like Juve are drawing and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, like, come on, give me more. Like, show me some skill. Show me some X factor. Like, just show me something. And Bangula and Kenan, they've both shown me it. So I would definitely start one of them on the left.
And on the right, Conceição is out. He will not recuperate. You will probably see him after the international break. Don't have a lot of choices with Wea that will probably play as a right back. So you play Kenan on the right, Bangula on the left, if it was for you, with the one at disposal. Or you play Colomani.
If you play Colomani, you have to play Deuce, you have to play Vlahovic. The thing is, I like Kenan, but I don't like him on the right because he's right-footed. When you play him on the right, he can't cut in and shoot. He has to be like a byline winger. Like, he has to keep going down the outside, putting crosses into the box. And I was even watching it like in the last game where I was like, you don't have inverted wingers. It's a way of scoring goals. Have a left foot on the right, pick up, cut in, shoot. Kenan has to start for me, but yeah, I don't think he will play Mbangula. I think for him, Mbangula off the bench, amazing. He's got energy, he's direct, he presses. I think he'll play Nico. But if not, you said Conceição is out. He's not going to play Vlahovic in this game. He will most likely play Nico because Atalanta, they're very dynamic. You need runners. You need players that are like they've got energy in the tank. Nico, he has that. Like he will keep running for the whole 90 minutes. So yeah, I could see Nico starting.
The importance of Bangula, because we just touched upon it on that goal of Koopmeiners last week, it was fantastic. Yeah, pressing the goalkeeper at the 90th minute, how he entered, coming back really fast from the offside because that's all smart, and then being there in one touch to give Koopmeiners the goal. Finally, can we say that he's back, or that he finally arrived? Koopmeiners back is a big word. That he's finally there, Koopmeiners, and also I will ask you the same question: do you think he will start? Why is he starting? And would you start him against Atalanta?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
When he scored, I was so happy for him because I was like, you're the marquee signing. Juve paid a lot of money for you. Everybody's seen what you've done in Serie A. Come to Juve, you don't step up to the plate. Like there was even a period where he was a liability. Like he makes mistakes and everything. And I always used to say, like, a manager, you've got one of two approaches. Either when a player is struggling, you stick by them and you keep playing him every single week in hope that he picks up. But it can go one of two ways. You keep playing him, the performances, they can just get worse and worse and worse and worse. When he took him out of the team, I was happy because I was like, he needs to be taken away from the spotlight. Like he needs to go on the bench, maybe bring him on 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And for me, he's never been a 10. He's not really like a playmaker. He's more get involved, give him the ball in the final third. And with that goal, like you said, it was like spot on where Mbangula, he goes on a one-man press. By himself, he goes, presses the goalkeeper, forces him into a mistake, gets back on side, gives it to Coop. He gave the ball to Koopmeiners in an area where you don't need to think much. Like you don't need to think, where's Kolomwani, where's Vlahovic, where's Kenan? No, he gave him the ball in an area, go put your foot through the ball. And that's what he done at Atalanta. He was always a specialist of like getting into the box in the final minutes, linking up with Scamacca, running in behind. Juve, he got signed to become like this architect, like come, connect, play, be a playmaker. It's not his game. I personally wouldn't play him only because I like McKennie a lot. Like I feel McKennie is more dynamic than Koopmeiners. Like McKennie, he's quick, he's like energetic. Koopmeiners for me is a bit slow. As much as he might be like a better ball striker, maybe even a better passer, McKennie against Atalanta, like Gasperini, where they push the whole team. The centre half, they tuck inside. It's energetic, it's dynamic. You need players that can press. I would play McKennie and I would keep Koopmeiners off the bench to come off.
You made a video, interesting one. It's the man of the moment. It's like 23 minutes. We didn't even touch or speak too much about it. But Khéphren Thuram is the man of the moment. And I saw the thumbnail of your video. Split Khéphren Thuram, split Edgar Davids. You know, I'm a huge, big fan of Edgar Davids. I had the opportunity, because I'm older, to watch that era of Juve. Del Piero, Trezeguet, Zidane, Davids, Nedved. Incredible. When you put it on, of course, it's creating attraction. I'm like, oof, I want to see it. Tell me, without spoiling too much your video, guys. Again, I didn't even say it, but I will put it, of course, in the description. Go on the channel of Hajj. The description will be here below. The link will be into the description. Subscribe to his channel. Fantastic video where you speak about Juve a lot, but also about international football, especially Serie A. Milan in Europe, disaster. Inter, unfortunately, well in Europe. Go and watch his channel because he's doing fantastic, beautiful content. So go and subscribe. Tell me, Davids, Thuram.
I think with Thuram, when Juve signed him, I was like, it's an interesting signing because Liverpool wanted him. Yeah. For 2 summers, Liverpool wanted him, but they never ever placed a bid. And sometimes when you see a club not place a bid, in your head you're thinking, maybe he wasn't that good. Like when Juve took him, I watched him at the beginning of the season. I was like, he's good, but you could see he's a bit slow sometimes. Like, I feel like he needed to adapt to the Serie A. And I always say this, like with new signings, sometimes you need to give them a whole year to adapt to the intensity, the physicality. Serie A is very tactical. It's not like Liga 1. Liga 1 is very physical, like end to end. Serie A, you come up against teams that defend the whole 90 minutes. So there's a bit more focus now on like IQ, what you can do. Beginning of the season, I wasn't too impressed, if I was to be honest, because I was looking at him, I was looking at Douglas Luiz, I was looking at Koopmeiners, and I was like, every single one of them is not playing well. Where he benefited, there was a period, Douglas Luiz was out, Koopmeiners started playing in the 10, he started playing week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out. And I started to watch him more, and I was like, he's now growing in this position. He's now more familiar with what he needs to do, how to do it. He understands his teammates. It's like if you go into work and now you've got new colleagues. You don't know them. You need to get to know them. They need to get to know you. There was a period like a month ago, he was out of the team. And every time I saw the starting 11, I was like, why? He is like, and there was a game, he came off the bench and you could see, I think it was the Champions League game. I think it was the Champions League game. He comes off the bench, he changes the game. Juve get knocked out, and I'm just sat and I'm like, look at what he brings to the team. I think his ball carrying, like even like statistically, it's one of the best in Europe. When he picks up that ball, you don't get near him. Like, bro, he's 6'4". Like, he is massive. He is 6'4". He is strong. When he starts, I literally just love watching him because it's like, I even said, like, as in he scored the goal against was it Empoli, where I was like, this is like a Pogba-esque goal. Like the trick, that goal, when it went in, I couldn't believe it because I was like, how do you do this? Like, big game. Like, imagine he had done it and it didn't work out. Everyone would be sat criticizing him. What are you doing? Don't be doing skills. No, he's got the confidence. He's got the ability. But I loved it because he done the skill. I've seen so many times players do the skill and then miss. No, he done the skill. He scored. Even when he scored, like someone else would go celebrate. You scored the best goal of your career. He didn't celebrate. He got the ball. He went running back. So there's mentality. There's leadership. He's only 23 years old. He, for me, I'm not going to say he's been Juventus' best midfielder of the season because I feel like Locatelli has been amazing, but they work really well. Locatelli isn't the most physical. He's more technical, passing. Thuram, physical, technical. He joins into the attack. For me, he is a guaranteed start from now till the end of the season.
You said a lot. You said too much. You said everything about Khéphren Thuram. I warned the people here. So actually, I said he's the one that we should take from Nice already before we signed him. So I was really convinced about him. Of course, being a Juventino, knowing the history, Papa Lilian Thuram, that was there. Of course, you want the player. Even if he was not that good, you want the player because it's Thuram. But no, I was convinced about him. But when he joined you, I said, pay attention. It doesn't come from a really great season at Nice because his season at Nice was not wow, the last one.
Yeah.
And I said he will need time. Give him time to grow. And now we are really seeing that Thuram that is fantastic. He warned a lot of people in the beginning of the season. One of his first interviews, he said, I'm not one that is scoring a lot. Don't expect a lot of goals from me. And here is already, I believe, equalizing his record in goal contributions.
He's got 4.
So it's, in a way, is he overperforming or is he actually, thanks to Thiago Motta, developing things that he didn't have in the past? That's a huge big question. But you compare him in a way to Edgar Davids. I give you my percentage of what I think Thuram looks like Davids today. I would go with a 35%. Thuram, Davids, because I understand the comparison. I believe you are right, but I would give it 35 because I want to keep other percentage for 2 other players. I will tell you immediately, and then you tell me if I'm right or wrong. So I give 35% to Thuram Davids. I want to put there another, probably a 40% on Thuram Vieira.
Yeah, okay, Patrick Vieira.
And the remaining, how much do we have? 25 Pogba. That's the mix, but of course, not at the level of Pogba, not at the level of
I
Vieira,
get you.
not at the level of Thuram, but potentially the thing that I see is a mix of these three players: Vieira, Pogba, Davids.
No, I get you. And I think all three of those players, we all loved watching. We all loved watching. Like Pogba, when the ban was taken, I was like, please bring him back to Juventus. Like, please. Like, I loved watching Paul Pogba. Wherever he goes, MLS, Saudi, I'll be watching. I'll be watching it. But where it is with Thuram, and this is like where we make the comparison, is because there's not many midfielders that can just pick up the ball and go, and you can't stop them. Vieira, like I saw him do it in Arsenal, done it at Juve, even when he went to like Manchester City at like 35 years old, picks up the ball, can't stop him. Pogba, I saw him do it at Man United, I saw him do it at Juve, do it at France. Those type of players, you always begin to like as a fan, because I call it like X Factor, because Locatelli, he can't do it. So with Locatelli, he's amazing at passing. But imagine one day you come up against the team, there's no passes available. They defend with 11, 10 players. Thuram, the thing I love about him is like, even when he came on against PSV, and PSV were defending for their lives. They were like, okay, we've got one goal. We're going to sit back. What can you do, Juve? He comes out, picks up the ball on the halfway line, goes. He just goes. And you could see like they tried to stop him. They can't. And where he's most impressed me is because when he does get the ball in the final third, he's not like low IQ where he makes the wrong decision. No. IQ, very good. Like he makes the right pass.
I agree.
And if anything, I think he's very selfless. Like sometimes I'm like, shoot more. Like you got into a good area. No, he always looks for the pass. And that's why I made the comparison, because I was like, he's genuinely like entertaining to watch, but he brings something Douglas Luiz doesn't bring. Like, and I'm talking about Douglas Luiz, the best version of him that I saw at Aston Villa. He's not a ball carrier. Koopmeiners not really a ball carrier. Locatelli not really a ball carrier. He's the only ball carrier, and that's why he has to start.
Look, you know what? I will take away 5% more from one of the three, and I want to replace these 5% with Adrien Rabiot. I see there is something of Adrien Rabiot in him. I know that he is hated by a lot of people. I love Adrien Rabiot, by the way. But the way that Adrien Rabiot, in some moments, was able to take that ball and go 3/4 of the field with his hair that was going like that. There is a bit of Adrien. By the way, they are really great friends, Thuram and Rabiot.
Oh, sweet. But
yeah.
I think it's more the physicality, because like what made you, for example, love Pogba? Usually you play, like for example, let's look at Conceição. What is he, like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8"? When he picks up the ball and he runs, he's small, like he's got speed. You expect it from small players. You don't expect a 6'4". Like this, he's got the physique of a centre half.
Yeah,
somebody that should be playing in defense. But he's probably one of the fastest in the team. Those players always stand out. And that's why like you see the comparison with Rabiot, because Rabiot's another one, I think 6'3".
Yeah.
He picks up the ball. Vieira, 6 foot plus. Pogba, 6 foot plus. It's such a nice like asset to have in a team, because they can help you defensively. They're tall, they win their headers, they get stuck in, they've got long legs. Like recently when he came back into the team, I've just been sat telling myself, maybe if he started against PSV, maybe they would have gone through. Just maybe. Like I don't know why he was on the bench.
No, nobody knows. But if you ask Aguamata, he will tell you, but I would do exactly the same things. Strange things to say after being eliminated against PSV, but it is what it is. I have a small games of Mercato with you. A small game, no. Some questions about transfer market that is upcoming. Conceição is a big debate at the moment. Keep or drop? We know it. We paid actually 8 million, included the salary, so that's a lot for the loan of 1 year. There is a clause where Juventus can go for him for 30 million. Today there are discussion of Juve. They want to not go for the clause, but negotiating with Porto to drop that clause, to actually leave that clause away and having a, 25, 20 million here. I have no idea. So that means that Juventus is still interesting to have the player. On the other side, they want to go lower. That means they are not 100% convinced about the player. What would you do, Conceição? Keep or drop?
I've never been a fan. I feel like you say like the club's not too convinced. I feel like one is injuries. He's always out. Like
It's the
Plays two games and then
third
he's
muscular
out.
injury. Yeah.
He always has injuries. Two, I watched him at Porto last year, and I was like, he's good because he excites you as a fan. Like he picks up, he keeps going, he fights. That kid, he gives you 120% every single game. But this is why I always look at Juve and I'm like, I feel like the recruitment of Nico Gonzalez and Conceição, they wasn't the best for wingers because they're both so good off the ball, so good. But you give them the ball in the final third. I feel like his decision making is really, really, really bad. Like the cross, it doesn't beat the first man. The cutback doesn't find the teammate. He picks up the ball, he cuts in and shoots when there's 5 teammates in the box. And you can even sometimes see it. Like the teammates, they're frustrated. Like they're thinking, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Don't get me wrong. Him being able to like dribble past players, it helps Juventus so much. But where it like frustrates me is because he pick up the ball. He beat 2 players. He has the skills. He'll beat them. Now you're thinking, okay, you've beat them. Now you've got time. You've got space. What are you going to do? Gives it back to the opposition. He's 22, 23 years old. I just look at it and tell myself, if Juve want to get back to the level that they once were, you need players that in the final third, they can score, they can create, they can help and build up. I feel like sometimes for me, he comes across like a bit like low IQ. Like he makes the wrong passes, he makes the wrong decisions. Like the game against PSV, I don't know if you remember it. There was a period, him and Kolo Muani.
I was there in the stadium, so I know really well. You speak about the return game in Eindhoven. I was there, so I remember it.
Couldn't forget it. I saw it and I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. They've got the whole team forward. Slide him in. And Kolo Muani, he's fast. He's not slow. He's fast. No. He doesn't make the pass. He starts dribbling in circles and the Kolo Muani just looking at him like. So for me, 30 million, no. Even if Juventus were to take him 20 million, I would keep him like a squad player, like similar to like Mbangula, like come off the bench. But if Juventus want to go back, you need a right winger that's like, he's either amazing at scoring goals or he's either amazing at creating opportunities. If you're lucky, you get one that can do both.
Is Adeyemi that name?
I don't like him.
Lookman
is good. But Lookman plays off the left. That's where the problem is.
And that's where I'm going towards another question. Pay attention. Are you ready? Out of proportion offer for Kenan Yildiz with Lookman that could potentially be a replacement. You do it? No?
Hear me out. You bring Lookman in the team now, Juventus, they grow. They get better. Of how long? He's 27, 28. Okay? You probably get maybe 2, 3, 4 seasons out of him. Kenan is what, 19?
19.
Kenan is 19. And the thing about Kenan is, I feel like this season, whenever his performances have dropped off, it's because he's played every single week. Like, as a 19-year-old, you shouldn't really be starting every single week. Like, you need rotation. And, like, his last game, like, fair enough, it was, like, against Verona. Bro, what he done in that central area, like, I was just sat watching it, and I was like, this kid in this area is amazing. But we've had to watch Koopmeiners the whole season. Why? Put him, look, like everything about him, the giving and going with Kolo Muani, then drifting out wide. Like even when you look at the first goal, the Thuram's goal, on the left-hand side, it's Locatelli, Kenan, and Cambiasso. Passing, give it to Locatelli, he gives it to Cambiasso. I wouldn't let go of Kenan. Kenan for me is like part of Juventus's project. Fair enough, if you say to me, next season he shouldn't be a starter, maybe like still ease him into it because he's still young. But no. I wouldn't. No way. I would not give Kenan for Lookman. No. What about you?
No, I would continue with Kenan. You know that a lot of people are complaining about, but it's not scoring enough. And if you see the work that Kenan is delivering, he's smart. He's sacrificing himself for the team a lot. He developed himself a lot also defensively. I have no problem with him playing even really wide on the left. I like him on the left. I saw him in Supercopa in Riyadh when he entered that first game on the right side. You said that you didn't like him that much on the right, and I agree with you because he cannot cut in. But on the other side, he's also able to score from the right side. You saw that goal against Milan in Supercopa. Boom. He has a left foot. He has a right foot. I'm really happy with the first scene of Kenan at Juve. Then could he have scored more? Yeah. maybe. And he said it himself. He was pissed off last time because he missed like these 2 goals. I don't remember against who it was. Cagliari, maybe. I think it was
Mm.
Cagliari. He said it after the game on microphones. He said, I'm sorry, I should have scored these ones. Showing also a growth in maturity. It's a good kid. I would love to keep him. The only reason why I would sell him is if you tell me today, sign, you win the Scudetto, but you have to sell Kenan. For winning the Scudetto, I will even sell my mother. But except of that, I would keep Kenan, whatever it means, whatever it takes. No, I keep him. Osimhen, Colomani, Jonathan David, Vlahovic, 25-26, Thiago Motta. Who is the striker?
How much is Osimhen linked for?
But that's a really complicated story. Why? Because he has officially a contract until 2026 with Napoli, but if he's not sold before the 30th of June, there is an immediate extension of the contract until 2027. So we can say 2 years of contract. It's a player that has a clause that is legit for the foreign countries, not for Italy, of 75 million euro. So you can go and try to say, okay, 75, but they are not obliged because that clause is not valid for Juve. Player that is earning what Dusan Vlahovic is earning in terms of salary. It's true that there is a law of decree, decreto crescita, so you pay a bit less gross than you pay for Dusan Vlahovic, but it's expensive one. You can under the 70 million, forget about it. With a salary of 10 net, which is a lot.
I feel like De Laurentiis, like he's very difficult to deal with. Very difficult. Osimhen, like he's doing well at Galatasaray. Like he's what, like Icardi is scoring like 25 plus goals over there. I just look at Osimhen and I'm like, is he what Motta wants in a striker? Like I still need to figure out what football Motta wants to play in this like Juve team, because if he actually wants somebody that can like drop deep, play with his back to goal, that's not Osimhen. Like you'd be wasting Osimhen. Osimhen, we saw him at Napoli when they won the Scudetto. Like he was in behind, like very, very, very similar to Kolo Muani, but just better.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It all depends on what
a bit more of everything. A bit more striker, a bit more physical, a bit more personality. A bit. I always say, like Osimhen is this kind of game that you play on your iPhone. You have to wait like 8 hours before upgrading one level. This kind of game.
Yeah.
Well, Osimhen is that game version of Colomani. A bit more of everything.
He's
but
a
of
bit
course,
more...
way much more in terms of the value, way much more in terms of salary. So also that you need to keep into attention. And also the fact that in January, I think that you miss him for like 5-6 weeks because of the African Cup. AFCON.
I think Juve would look at him, but I don't think Napoli would sell to Juve, like unless it's a premium price. I think Vlahovic will go. I could see Kolo Muani 1 more year on loan with like an option or an obligation to buy. I could see Juve looking at Jonathan David because he's for free.
Yeah.
And I think he's on like 13 goals in 25 games.
Doing well.
Like,
he's doing well.
He scores goals. It gives you a different option. I feel like he's a bit more technical. Like he can play with his back to goal. I wouldn't be surprised if Motta even looks at Xerxes again. I really wouldn't be surprised because he isn't really doing the best at Manchester United, and Motta understands him better than anybody. He understands Motta, and I think like especially this new Manchester United board, they're happy to sell. Like they will sell anybody. So I think from now till the end of the season, or even preseason. Preseason is the perfect time. You need to see if Motta is still going to stick to the football he played at Bologna, or is he now adapting to the players that he has? Because you can't turn around and say like the players that Juve currently have, they don't really suit like this total football. They've done well, but imagine like playing on the front foot. You've got Kenan running in behind. You've got Colo. You've got whether it's Conceição, Nico. It suits them more. So I feel like that would be the deciding point. But Osimhen, no. I think Jonathan David, there's a higher chance.
Last one. Who do you see more in that 25-26 Juventus? Tonali or Ederson? They're beautiful names, huh?
I don't think Tonali. Like I watched his I read his interview with La Repubblica. From what he said, it doesn't sound like he's. It doesn't sound like he's open to going to any team in the Serie A besides Milan. I don't know if Milan will pay the money for him. I think Newcastle will definitely be open to selling him because they've got like PSR, FFP.
Juventus fans, they are dreaming about him because Douglas Luiz being linked to possibly
He'll
Newcastle. They
leave.
are dreaming about the swap, and that's where it comes from.
I have this question for you. If you get Ederson, can you make Ederson and Thuram play together?
Look, Ederson is my favorite player from Atalanta since long. Over Koopmeiners, over Lookman, over everyone. Underrated player. I was pissed off that he was not nominated for the Ballon d'Or. I think that was a crime to not have him in there. Not winning.
Yeah, I get you.
He was not even nominated. I was like, But I would not take him for a lot of reasons. First of all, stop giving money to Atalanta, to Napoli, to Fiorentina, basta. As a Juventino, I hate giving money to these teams because you always have that Juve tax.
Yeah.
And that's already annoying. That's one. Two, would I take again another disappointment in another Brazilian? I suffered a lot with Brazilian players. Diego, now Douglas Luiz. We had so many players of Brazil that I don't know. Then another big one. Is he a system player of the Gasperini Atalanta machine project? And when he goes away, will not work. So there are a lot of things that says, look, he's my favorite Atalanta player, but I'm not ready to suffer again. So I would leave him there.
I think he leaves. I think he definitely. I think if Gasperini leaves, I think that team it gets torn apart. I think.
On the other side, I will answer your a bit more precisely your question. You know why I would not take him, except of all the bullshit that I just said? Probably because Juventus, they need a bit more a creative offensive midfielder, more than what we already have with a different skills, but a Locatelli, a Thuram. Maybe, that touch of magic is missing. And I'm not sure if Ederson can give you enough of that magic.
I think also next season it will play a part if he plays like a 4-3-3. If it goes 4-3-3 and then you've got like two interiors with the 6. Like, for example, I'm just like imagining it. Like you go Thuram and Ederson, like you wouldn't be able to stop because they're physical, they're strong, they've got energy. Like Juve could literally play some of the best of football, but like you said, they're physical, they're powerhouses, but they're not like the most creative. Yeah, but Tonali, I don't think it happens. Like he's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm paying too much attention to the interview that I saw, but he's looking at Milan. If not, Ederson for me can work. I'll be honest with you. Like it's just, but Ederson for me 4-3-3. If you say to me now, Ederson 4-2-3-1, I'd be like, no, like it's not gonna work. Like I'm thinking out loud.
Who are the three? The start, final of Champions League, 4-3-3. Who is your 3 in the midfield? Ederson plus Thuram, I guess.
So as in, is Ederson at Juve?
Yeah. Final of Champions League. So you need to play your best ever team. Don't speak about rotation, depend on the form. Best 3 next season in the midfield.
But Champions League final, I go Locatelli in the 6. And because I know physically he's not the best, I put 2 animals next to him, like 2 strong, powerful. Ederson and Thuram, I feel like that would be like a perfect midfield because they're all technical, but they're physical, they've got engines, and they all bring different things to the table. Locatelli, amazing passing. Ederson, Thuram, amazing ball carrying. Ederson, he scores goals. Like, so does Thuram. I think, like, for example, that midfield for me would be perfect for a manager like Klopp.
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp. That's what he wants. He wants energetic powerhouses. That's why I said to you, like, I don't know what the football will be next year because some managers, they adapt after a season. If Motta still wants to play like total football, drop and goals, shapes, he wouldn't grab Ederson. He'd probably grab a Tonali because Tonali, he's smart. Like his IQ, like he drops into the pockets, he can play with his back to goal. So it all depends on what brand of football. But Ederson 4-2-3-1, nah, I wouldn't. Like imagine him and Thuram in the double pivot. They can't do what Locatelli does.
I give you the magic wand for that last question. One thing that you want to see before the season ends from Juventus can be whatever you want. Huh? Can be
One thing.
a player developing, can be a goal, can be whatever you want. One thing that you would love to see before the end of the season.
I'm trying to think of like a special one because my go-to one would be, and I said it the last time I was on, play Kenan in the 10 from now to the end of the season. At least so then at the end of the season, if it doesn't work out, I'll stay quiet. I'll be like, I saw it, it didn't work. But I'm trying to think of like something a bit more like different. Maybe I'd like to see what's his name start. The Brazilian kid, Alberto Costa.
Yeah.
I'd like as in I know it's still early. I feel like when he came on the other day, he nearly scored in his first touch. Like he had a shot. I would like to see him, like for example, if I was the coach, I would be like, I'm going to give you from now till the end of the season to grow, adapt. So next season, you're ready. You're ready. So yeah, probably those two.
Okay, good. Is there a last thing that I totally forgot to speak about, or that you wanted to mention that I didn't ask you, so that we go in closure, or a question you have for me? Maybe, I don't know. Whatever.
What's your prediction for? Oh, I got two actually. I got two.
Good.
They're linked. What's your prediction for the Atalanta game?
In result, I think I will disappoint a lot of people, but I think it's 0-0.
Oh,
It's a long time ago.
I thought you were gonna say like 2-2, 0-0. No.
I think a boring 0-0. I think the two teams emotionally the game will be really high in their head. I'm not sure, or it can be a crazy game, like you said, a 2-2 or 3-3, maybe. Though it can go all sides, but I'm afraid it will freeze a lot of the legs on the field. So at 0-0, I'm scared about that one.
Yeah, I think where the problem is, a lot of them might go into it, like Juve might go into it saying, we can't lose, because if we lose, it's a big problem for us, especially that now we're trying to get into the title race. So let's take a draw, because if we draw an Atalanta draw, neither of us really progresses. So that's what tends to happen sometimes in like the business end. A lot of teams, they play safe. But me, like the thing that I loved about the game against like Verona is because like Juve, they showed no respect to Verona. Like, don't get me wrong, Verona are like what, 13th, 14th. But I loved it because I was like, you know, you're better than them. Show them you're better than. If Juve played like that from the beginning of the season and they didn't like respect the opposition too much, I feel like they would have won so many more games. Like just trust yourself. But second question, and it's linked. You're seeing the reports that Gasperini maybe is leaving Atalanta, and you know, like he's got a connection with Juve. He'd love to have like another go. If someone said to you right now, in the summer, Motta leaves, and you get Gasperini, yes or no?
You know, the problem is that I'm not sure there is enough time to make it work.
Okay.
If we were in that post-Allegri 1.0, after the 5 titles that he won in a row, adding the one of Conte, so we were at 8, and you brought me Gasperini instead of Sarri, I think that would have been ideal. Because if you flop the first season, you come from 8, and you have time to grow, and maybe at Juve you don't need 10 years, but maybe in 2-3 seasons you can really see the Gasperini pattern. And people would have waited a bit because you just come there. But we are, and okay, we just spoke about a 1.38% statistically, so we will not win the Scudetto this season. Forget about it. So that will be the 5th year where Juventus do not win. To implement a philosophy of Gasperini, I think it would take too much time. 1. 2, I'm 100% sure that Gasperini Giuntoli will never work out in terms of personality. I think it will clash immediately. So I would say no unfortunately, bring me back in time, and I would have brought him 100% instead of Sarri.
No, fair enough. Like, as in a lot of people have said, like he's a character. Like
Oh yeah,
like with Atalanta, he's basically like the biggest thing over there. He's untouchable. Like even what he said about Lookman, what he done with Papu Gomez a few years ago.
but
Him,
don't forget,
Gentili.
Hajj, at Atalanta when he arrived 10 years ago, there was absolutely no pressure. It was not obliged to win a qualification in Champions, a qualification in Europe, let alone participating in Europe and winning a title. So he had all the time in the world to develop, to work, to year by year adding something to his game, developing. And when you're low radar like that, you can easy. When he went to Inter, okay, Inter was a disaster back then. Uh, Immediately it clashed. Immediately, I believe he coached like 3 games and he was out
Yeah, he wasn't
immediately.
there for long.
I'm not sure if Juventus would have the time for Gasperini, which is a pity in a way, but I could understand it.
I get you. I feel like it's just like the football he plays, it's like so attractive. But I think that football does take a few years
Yeah,
to implement. And he's very like, it's either my way or the highway. Like if he walks in and says to you, I don't want Kenan, I don't want Locatelli, and I don't want Cambiaso, you have to get rid of him.
yeah, of course.
He's that type of manager. Yeah. I get you.
And that's why I think it will really clash with Giuntoli. So let's see. Then if you tell me is he a good coach, absolutely. Nobody can say that he's not a good coach. He's a really good coach. Then he's a Juventino as well. I think that when you're looking at the positive side, is a real supporter of Juve since a kid. He coached Juve in the youth sector. He won Viareggio Cup that back then was really important also with the youth. He has that unfinished business thing that he would love to do. I'm sure that he would bring leadership that today we are lacking. I'm convinced about it. We don't have them on the players. Even if I start seeing also a growing Locatelli leadership on the field, which is good, but we are not there yet at the level. But a Gasperini could bring you that leadership from day one. And that is missing. And I think that, for these kind of things, there are a lot of things why I would do it. But at the end, I would not.
No, I get you. You made like valid points. I get you.
People in the chat, people in the comments, people that are watching from home or wherever you are, please do me a favor. Instead of putting a like here, instead of go to the channel of my great friend Hajj, the link is into the description. You go there, you subscribe because it's delivering every day fantastic, beautiful videos that are an inspiration, I'm sure, to you, but also to me. When I have nothing to say, when I don't know anymore, I go to his channel to watch, and then I analyze a bit and I try to bring it to my channel. Thank you for the information. Thank you for the great work. Thank you for representing Serie A in English, because that's really, really, really nice. Thank you, Hajj.
Nah, I appreciate it, bro. Listen, always a pleasure making content with you, chatting Serie A, chatting Juve, and it's not the last. I'll tell you that. It's one of many to come.
Gracias. Ciao, man.